Hey guys, welcome to episode 10 of Romp Chess. Glad you're here and joining in my journey. Episode 9, I played a pretty good game, but I took a heartbreaking loss when I ran out of time with checkmate one that I failed to see. So this episode, one of my goals is to definitely pay more attention to the clock. There's time for commentary, and then there's a time to just buckle down and play chess. So I did have that takeaway from the last game. So having said that, I'll be playing 15-10 once again, and let's jump right in and see what's in store for us. So I will be playing as white today. So I'll open with e4. Not played as white in a while, I do believe. So let's respond with the knight. Let's play the Scotch. So I have two attackers on the pawn. So black plays the knight to f6. If I take here and white takes back, then boom, I take the queen. So let's take here. That puts pressure on the knight, and they do take, so I'll take the queen. And now that black has taken back with the king, their king is exposed, and they cannot castle for the remainder of the game. So that's a good thing for me. Not only that, but this pawn is now hanging, so that's just a snap take. I also have this threat here with my knight with another check. So white covers. So I have this threat here, threat here. My pawn is currently undefended here. So I need to put a defender on the pawn, which I could do by bringing the knight to here. Knight to here, that defends. So let's go here. Looks like black is preparing to castle alongside here with pressure on my knight. So I could develop the bishop to here, or I could push my pawn to here. Let's go ahead and push the no, because there's no there is. So I've got a cover there. So let's push the pawn. This light square bishop at the moment is currently it's not really pinned, but it's kind of committed. It's committed to covering here. Interesting. So let's take back, kick the take back the pawn, kick the knight here. Okay, black retreats. I have a, I do have a check here. If black tries to kick, I could take with the knight, or with the pawn here, I could take back. I still have these two bishops that I need to develop. All they're both currently on open squares. Let's see, do I like this? If I reposition the bishop to there, attacking the knight, white could kick. Let's go ahead and check here. Okay. I don't really want to move my bishop back to here because I could end up getting it trapped with this other pawn push. So I'm actually going to redirect my bishop to here to put an extra defender on this pawn and prepare to castle long over here. Okay, so black takes. I do have pressure here on the knight, which is covered by the pawn, but I also have this nice juicy check, which would activate this rook to a more active square. If I castle long, so king goes here, rook goes there with a check, so I like that. Now white either has to block or move the king. They decide to move the king. So now if I reposition this bishop, then my rooks will be connected. Where do I want to put this bishop? Where do I want this bishop? So you're attacking there. Let's just get you off the back rank for now. How's that? Will that work? Will that work for everybody? This square here is currently attacked. Material is even, so I don't want to take here because white will take back. If I go knight here, then I'm threatening this pawn with a fork to the bishop and the rook. Do I like that, or is there something better? I like that. I like that. So I'm still over 10 minutes on the clock. Okay. Good move for black. So they're covering the fork square there, but I was able to advance my my knight to a more active position. Do I have a threat? Can't go there. Can't go there because the knight is covering. I could start to push these pawns. I still have this rook. Needs to be on a more active square. So if I put the rook there, this file is open, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we're kicking the knight there. If I redirect here, black takes. I take back with the rook and advance the rook. So basically I'll be forking the bishop and the knight. Okay, so black is pushing here. If I take, black could take back with either the knight or the pawn. I've got this threat here, plus both rooks on open files, so I think I take. So threatening this pawn. Can I take? Can't take there. Take the bishop. King's going to take here. So I take. King takes. I have a check here, but that's covered by the knight. I have a check here that's also covered by the knight. But if I push this pawn and then check here, then that square is covered. So let's push there. I currently have 7 minutes and 36 seconds. Going to watch that clock this time. So now I can't check here. But I can push here, or if I redirect the rook to there, if I push the pawn to there, black takes, I take back. So let's do that. So if black takes here, I take back. If black takes, I take. And if black were to take, I've got the check with the bishop there. Okay. So we got everything kind of tied up there. So looks like it might be time to start pushing these pawns on this side. I could push this pawn to here. That's covered by the bishop. Okay. That's got my bishop kind of, my bishop kind of tied up. If If I lift this rook, oh, this is really a closed position here. So if I lift the rook, I can redirect this rook to there. Okay, we're attacking. Oh, this game is looking very drawish. Looking very drawish. So let's put this rook here. Okay, if I take here, you're taking with the knight. Now I can push this pawn, but the king can take, or I could get my king in a more active position. Let's see, let's lift this rook to here. I could possibly redirect my bishop around to here, because this bishop is totally inactive right now. It's blocked by my pawns, so it's literally doing me no good. So I need to get this bishop into the battle. Just looking at my opponent's rating, I'm playing a 663. I'm currently sitting at 565. Okay, so moving the knight right back where it was. So let's go stick with our plan. Redirect the bishop. Okay, so we take there with the knight. My rook is currently under attack by the knight here. I can pin the knight here. So let's do that. Let's pin the knight. So if I take, white's going to take back. So let's take. White takes back. I can redirect my rook there, put pressure on this pawn. Okay, so let's take here. If I move here, let's see. If I move here, black could take, and then if I take, this pawn is currently under attack. This pawn is being defended here. So let's push here. So if I take there, I've got that pawn in front of my rook. So let's go there. Now if I take, king takes back, I do have this this passed pawn here. So let's take, king takes back. Now I've got 1, 2, 3 squares to go. Can the king catch me? If I go here, king goes here. Yeah, that's not going to win that race. I'm not going to win that race. So if I go there, king goes there, I go there, 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 promote. Okay, so now it's just a matter of making sure none of these other pawns pass. And keep this king in check. I have a check here. Then I can take this pawn with the check. I can take this pawn with the check. Okay, king's defending this last pawn. But I do have a check here. If I go to here, if I move the queen to here, then I'm attacking both these pawns. And the king is trying to defend here, so I've got to check this, check the king again. If I put the queen on this square, that's protecting the promotion square. So let's do this. Now let's go here. Now let's go here. Okay, so king is still protecting this so yeah, let's block you. Definitely don't want to draw here. I could take the king over here and try to advance this other pawn. There's really nothing the king can do here. Yeah, there's nothing the king can do. If the king steps away from this pawn, I'm going to take the pawn. The king can't go there or there or there. So I think my best bet is to just come over here and take this pawn with the king and promote again, and then checkmate with the other queen. There's probably another way. Oh, pay attention, dude. It's your move. So let's go here. Yeah, that's the way to go. So I'll take this pawn, then a step away, and then just start pushing to promote this other pawn. And black resigned. So that was actually a pretty good game there. It was kind of an intense end game. Inevitably, if we had kept playing and my opponent knew this, I would have promoted the pawn on the A file, and it would have been over. So there was literally no way that that black could win. So they resigned. So but they played well. Let's. I had 2 minutes and 24 seconds left on the clock. So I didn't run out of time this time, and I kept my cool and won the game. So let's go into the review. So looking at the review here, looks like there's actually a good bit to look at, and we're not going to dive down into all of this for sure. Neither my opponent or I played the greatest of games. My accuracy rating was 67.8. My opponent was 62.6, which is nothing to brag about. My game rating was 850. My opponent's game rating was 600. My opponent had one blunder. We each had one miss. I had 3 mistakes. The opponent had 4 mistakes. I had 6 inaccuracies. My opponent had 11 inaccuracies. So like I said, we can't dive down into all that. It would take all day. But let's at the very least look for the most critical takeaways that we can pull out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and start the review. Just book moves so far. I take here, which is also a book move, and this was actually the first miss for black, which is kind of surprising, considering that there's 653, because by taking here, you might ask yourself, well, why is that a miss? It just looks like an even exchange. But when I take the queen, which is now hanging, and black is forced to take back with the king because they're in check, then that king is now committed to the center of the board. There's no way they can castle and get their king to safety. So that was definitely a miss on my opponent's part, and I punished them right there for that. That's the reason Stockfish gave me an exclamation point, a great move for that. And of course, the king has to take back. They don't have any choice there. At this point, I am. We're just on the 6th move. Is that right? Yeah, on the 6th move, and I am up at by 2.2 at this point on the eval bar. Okay, I do want to look at this for just a second, if you'll bear with me. So I really struggled here with this move, and I'm going to I'm going to go into the analysis mode. The chess.com coach says they've brought their piece into play while forcing your knight to retreat. So let's go to the let's actually go to analysis. So why is F4 a mistake? So I'm pushing the pawn to put a defender on my knight. However, when black takes back and I take back, that the biggest thing that I can see is that weakens my pawn structure. So now it's more or less an even exchange, but I have these two pawns that are doubled. So neither pawn is supported. This pawn is supported by my knight, but these pawns are just kind of hanging there in the center of the board. So let's take it back. So I check there. King. And so here's another mistake by my opponent that takes the eval bar up to 2.7. So why is that a mistake? If I take here and white or black takes back, then basically I see it now. So basically this pawn is pinned. It's, even though it's attacking here, I could have just moved my bishop to there, and now this pawn is pinned. So that's why that was a mistake. And I should have punished my opponent for it. So I should have just taken there. I didn't. I retreated my bishop, which was also a mistake. And I think we covered that in the last dive down. You know, I should have just taken instead of retreating there. So I do castle. I did really like this move, castling longside with the check for the rook right here, which forces the king to one of these two squares. Black also could have blocked with either of these, with any of these pieces. They move the king. They move the king to a square that's more exposed. I guess that's the word I was looking for. Perhaps their logic was that they didn't want to move the king, you know, to here, because that would block this rook back here in the corner. I'm not really sure. Here's another move that I kind of struggled with. I didn't really know what to do with this bishop. I just knew that I wanted to get it off the back rank. So, but why is that in accuracy? So I play there, and then my opponent could have followed up by playing there. which I'm still really not seeing why that was in an accuracy. So Stockfish is saying a better move would have been knight to d5 check there. I guess that's why it was an inaccuracy, because if I had checked here and black were to take back, then I take back with a pawn. This pawn here is now on a semi-open file with this rook supporting. So that's why that was a misplay on my part. So I should have checked here. That's why that was an inaccuracy. Not necessarily that putting the bishop on this e2 square was a bad square for the bishop. There was just a better move. Another inaccuracy for my opponent. Like I say, we won't bother diving down into all of these because there's just too many. It's too many to look at. And again, this inaccuracy moving the knight here is the same inaccuracy that I had a couple turns back. I should have put the knight on d5 with a check for the same reasons that we kind of already looked at. Okay. So pretty sloppy middle game so far. We're just exchanging a lot of pieces. Exchanging a lot of pieces. Okay, let's stop just a second. Let's take a look at this. So here I played G4. So why is that a mistake? Oh, I see it already. Because if black takes, I take back, then the bishop is attacked by the knight. If I take back here, then this rook is on an open file to attack here, and it's and I'm losing at this point if that's how my opponent had played that out, but they didn't. So that was a big mistake, and I'm actually losing at this point. I'm down 1.42. So black is winning at this point in the game. Material is even, but they have positional advantage, even though their king is out in the center of the board here. But they didn't punish me for it, so that's why H4 is an accuracy for black, because they should have taken for the reasons we previously looked at. Oh, there's another miss for me. My logic on pushing this pawn was, for one, I felt like I didn't really have another good move. I can't push that pawn. I can't push that pawn. I can't push that pawn. The rooks really have nowhere to go. My logic was to push here because this pawn is, even though it's attacked by the knight, it's covered by the bishop, and that would have been a check. But that's not what my opponent did. They pushed their pawn in response to just try to close the position. Then my idea here is to get these rooks on the same open file. And then my opponent covers with their rook. Again, interesting. So why was rook f to d1 in an accuracy? So this square here is, how can I explain this? So this square right here is attacked by the white rook and the black rook. However, it's also controlled by both my pawns here. And you might also think, well, it's also controlled by the king, but it's not. The king can't move to this square because that would put the king in check. So that would just have been a more aggressive square for my rook. Not really sure what the follow-up would be. Let's take a look at this for a minute. That does threaten this knight. So if black didn't move the knight, let's say they just made some random move, play this or whatever, then I could have taken here. The king couldn't have taken back. If they had moved to some other piece. I'm basically just controlling this center if I had moved the rook to there. That's not what I played. I put the rooks on the same file, just trying to trade off pieces here. And again, I should have gone to this this central square with my rook, but I took. Black takes back. Again, this is an inaccuracy for me. Why is that an inaccuracy? So if black goes here, and I go here, then the king can take that pawn, and I've got no follow-up. And it looks like that the preferred move would have been rook to d5, as for the same reason when I explored before. Let's see. So at this point, black is still winning. there's a mistake for black, because I can relocate to here and pin the knight so they can't take the rook, which is what I did. So black is covering the knight with this pawn push. I'm still losing by 2.08 on the eval bar. So I take, black takes back. Man, there's another miss for me. Now I'm down by 3.8. I'm losing by 3.8. Why is that a mistake? So again, I should have gone to here, because this square is covered by the pawn. I don't really see what the follow-up would have been though. So my idea was to put the rook on the c file and attack here. Okay, there's a blunder for black playing king to e5. Why is that a blunder? That looks like either way this pawn is exposed. So if I play here, rook goes to there, then I've got to check there. So blunder for black. So I take. There's another inaccuracy for black moving this rook, because now that allows me to take the c pawn and put this this pawn, which was on the b file, on the c file ahead of this rook. So that's a promotion threat for me. So that's what I did there. Stockfish gives that an exclamation point. So great move for me. So now I'm actually digging my way out of the hole. I'm slightly ahead by 0.5 on eval bar, with 2:58 left on the clock at this point. Another mistake by black, and in my opinion, this is the one that really cost them the game, because this pawn here on c5 is 1, 2, 3 squares from promotion. So when I take here with a check, king has to take back, pretty much. Then there's no way the king can catch me before I promote. up to here, which is what I did. So that's why that was a mistake for black. So I take, king takes back. Now it's just off to the races. And so the king can't catch me. I promote. And at this point, there's hardly any way that black can win, but you know, sometimes I have a way of snatching a defeat out of the jaws of victory. So my idea was to just keep checking this king and eliminate all these pawns off the board until I could safely checkmate with the king and queen. That's not exactly what happened. So I'm assuming that what they're wanting to do here is to capture these two pawns and try to promote one of these. There's a miss for me. What I have better? It's a miss for me. Oh, because I left this pawn hanging. I left this pawn hanging, which black took. So that's why that was a miss. And now black has their own promotion threat. I'm still more or less winning, but now it says mate in 10, which is before it was saying mate in 7. I had mate in 5 at one point. I had right here I had a possible mate in 5, and it went to mate in 7, and then mate in 10 once I lost the. So Stockfish is more or less saying that I'm still going to checkmate. I'm just making it harder than it needs to be. Now it's at mate in 12. Oh, goodness. Looks like I need to do some in-game puzzles and practice my in-game a little bit more. So at this point, I know that there's no way that black's going to promote this pawn. So at this point, they know there's nothing they can do. So they just resign and give up. So I know that was a long review, but there was a lot to look at there. I definitely need to practice my Scotch game and get more familiar with these different lines. But my opponent played well. Looks like that's got me back up to 592, which is where I was before I timed out on my last game. So I do appreciate you coming along for the ride. If you're new to viewing my channel, welcome, and please hit that like and subscribe button. That really helps me tremendously, and I appreciate every like. I appreciate every subscriber, and again, thanks. See you guys next time. Bye.